Hello there. A weather forecast for Australia and New Zealand coming up shortly. But first of all, let's start off in Asia, where there's a fair amount of cloud around, and this cloud is producing quite a lot of extensive rainfall, particularly through southern China and affecting Taiwan, along with the northern Philippines as well. You can see that quite clearly. Now, further north of that, despite the storms easing away, we've still got some rain across parts of Japan, a weather front fairly stagnant, slicing its way through Korea, and that will bring some heavy persistent rain over the next couple of days. The heaviest of the rain, though, further south, as I've already talked about, that could bring the potential for some localised flooding before it slowly starts to ease. Sharp showers into Vietnam, also into Thailand as well. So our city forecast shows a few showers around, but generally speaking, things look as though it's improving as we move towards the weekend. So let's take a look at Australia. A weather front moving into Western Australia will bring some outbreaks of rain into Perth, largely quiet through the Bight. A little bit cooler than perhaps it should be down into parts of New South Wales and Victoria. And a weather front eases away from Tasmania. Here it brought snow, but it is going to bring more unsettled weather eventually into New Zealand as we move through this week. So from Tuesday onwards, the cloud will increase, the winds will strengthen, and we'll start to see some rain. You can see that through the Auckland forecast over the next few days. Some sunshine, though, looks likely for Sydney. Hello there. Monsoon rains still continue across South Asia with weather warnings in force, but the emphasis a little bit further north. You can see the extensive cloud across the whole of India at the moment. Now, the heaviest of the rain as we go through the early part of the week looks likely to be across Karnataka, Maharashtra as well. We'll also pick up some heavy rain moving up through the Bay of Bengal, some rough seas here affecting Bangladesh, and also through the Himalayas as well. Now, we will see some wet weather across that west coast through Mumbai, but Kerala coastline looks likely to stay quite quiet as we had this time last week. Now, further north of that, we've got a good deal of dry, sunny weather in the story. There will be some showers, though, into Kazakhstan, and that will affect the temperatures here. Only high teens look likely. Further south, dry, settled and sunny. Similar story across the borders of Afghanistan into Pakistan. Then we see that wet weather stretching down through Mumbai, drier for Kerala, drier across Sri Lanka. Any showers will be fairly isolated. Some rough seas moving up through the Bay of Bengal, and then we're into that heavier rain, as I've already pointed out to you. So Mumbai will keep some wet weather for most of the week as Islamabad stays dry, settled and sunny with temperatures into the low 30s. It looks likely that Tashkent will see the best in terms of the sunshine and the warmth. Perhaps low 30s, quite possible. Take care. Hello then. At this time of year across Western Africa, that's where we see the heaviest of the rainfall. And if we look at the satellite picture, you can see a fair amount of cloud really through the Ivory Coast over towards Sierra Leone and up into Senegal. And that's going to be the story as we go through the day. So those showers really drift their way across from east to west. Now to the north of that, it's hot and settled. To the south, got a little more cloud and a cooler feel pushing into South Africa at the moment. 17 degrees expected into Cape Town. So that's the story across much of Africa. Let's take a look at the city forecast for the next few days. Temperatures will recover into Cape Town through the middle of the week, but it does look as though we're not going to see any significant rain here either. Now for Khartoum, it stays hot, settled and sunny. Temperatures are likely to be into the high 30s. That's not quite as extreme as it has been nevertheless. As for the Middle East, it's a similar story really, not the oppressive heat that we have been used to, but nevertheless still temperatures into the low 40s. We have had a localised shamal blowing, but the winds are easing just a touch, and so there's hardly a breath of wind, hardly a cloud in the sky, and as a consequence it is still pretty hot with it, with those temperatures peaking into the low 40s. And it doesn't look as though there's going to be any significant change over the next few days. It stays dry, settled and sunny. Hello there. If you've been following the weather forecast for South America, you know that we've been talking about how cold it is down to the south. And if we take a look at the temperature profile on top of the satellite picture, you can see where the blue tones are sitting across the southern tip of Chile. Some of that cold air is starting to push a little bit further north again over the next few days, back into parts of Argentina as well. In terms of weather, things are largely fine and quiet. As you can see quite clearly, we've got some rain up into parts of Venezuela, into Colombia and northern Ecuador. Fine and settled despite a little bit of fair weather cloud and a few isolated showers across that east coast of Brazil. Not looking too bad into Paraguay and Uruguay as well. Buenos Aires seeing 18 degrees. So that's about the average for this time of year, and not as cold as it has been further south. Obviously, it's still pretty chilly, but temperatures will start to pick up for a time, and then we'll start to see that colder air returning into Buenos Aires with temperatures as daytime highs of just 12 degrees. Some intense showers across parts of Mexico and down into Central America. At the same too for the Yucatan Peninsula as well. We'll see a scattering of showers, perhaps a little more frequent into parts of Cuba and Kingston, Jamaica as well. The city forecast for the next few days then shows those showers easing away into Kingston and sunshine returning with highs of 33 degrees. Hello there. Well, let's start off with what's happening across Hawaii at the moment. Despite Hurricane Lane easing away, still a fair amount of cloud across the islands. And I just want to point out two areas of disturbance. One is Tropical Storm Miriam. Here it is. She's tracking in a northwesterly direction. And another is a disturbance just off to the west coast of Mexico. We'll need to keep a close eye on these over the next few days. As for North America, we got some heavy rain moving across the Rockies, also moving through parts of North Dakota and Wisconsin, bringing some heavy rainfall here as well. Heat is a feature elsewhere across North America. So let's take a look at the west coast, where things are largely fine and quiet, not the quite extreme heat that they have seen just recently, but we are starting to pick up some warmer russets. The heat really stretching down across parts of the Nevada desert. Here it's been quite extreme. But over the next few days, as you can see with Phoenix, seeing those temperatures well in excess of 100 degrees. So that's into the low 40s. Now, across that east coast, it's heat and humidity all spilling up with a southerly wind, and so extending right up into eastern Canada and across that eastern seaboard. So despite those temperatures perhaps into the low 30s, add in that humidity as well. It's pretty oppressive, and it is going to stay pretty hot and humid over the next few days. So you can see quite clearly temperatures into the 90s. That's the low 30s for New York. Similar story. Hello there. We've got a series of weather fronts bringing some unsettled weather across Europe at the moment, and a marked contrast between north and south. You can see quite clearly the most significant one that's moving into Scandinavia, eventually into Germany and the Low Countries, and another just pushing away from the southern heel of Italy. So that will continue to bring some sharp showers as well. So as we go through the day then, it's an improving picture. We've got a fair amount of sunshine on Tuesday across much of Western Europe. Out to the east, a scattering of showers, perhaps into Turkey and into Greece, but generally speaking, it's fine and settled. A breezy story across northern Italy and into France with a localised chamal, but it's settled and sunny. And we've got a good deal of dry weather into Spain and Portugal. Now, a fair amount of cloud just spilling into the far northwest of the UK with a weather front here, and some cloud across the Low Countries and into Scandinavia. And it looks by Wednesday as though we'll see some more unsettled weather stretching down through France into Germany and across the Alps as well. So nothing quite so straightforward into Europe. It does stay a little more unsettled, although the Mediterranean should be fine and consistent. Here's the theme then, warming up a little into London and Paris as we move through the week. Plenty of decent sunshine across to Madrid. As into Eastern Europe with that rain easing, it's an improving picture a little later on in the week.